alternative disputing mechanism also we have made. For the key challenges for this, the Indian judicial system, we all know, the systematically when we go through on this, the phases of the very significant backlog post and also within the millions of the cases are pending, the across the various cases and courts, this the proactive for the delays, for the undermining, for the timely delivering of the justice. One more important collegium system. We all know nowadays we are talking about the collegial system. Judicial appointment have been very criticized for its capacity and also the leading calls for the more transparent for the accountable mechanism also. And also many courts, we all know they operate with the inadequate infrastructure and also the insufficient personnel, hindering for the efficiency of the effectiveness. And also one more thing, very procedural, the intensities of the legal system often result for the delay of the cases and increase the legitimate of the cost and the delaying of the access of the justice for the common citizens. We have some of the objectives in the judicial reforms and their necessity for the fair justice and system. To overcome this, we have made some of the key objectives, streamlining the support for the staff, essential steps, and what are the challenges of the Indian judicial system. According to the data recently, the National Judicial Data Grid has provided there are 4 crores of the 40 million pending cases are in the Indian courts. We all know with the over of 3 crore cases are pending very district level and also the subordinate courts level also. While the backlog cases are impact for the timely and also the delivery of the justice is very injustice. And one more thing, lack of accountability and transparency in the judicial functioning. The appointment of the judges, particularly the high levels, often the remaining and the system in the place of the judicial appointments. And one more thing, suffer from the inadequate transformation and the infrastructure, the resources provided by the courts. And Indian laws, we all know the very complexity and the administrative insufficiency, also legal procedures. So these are the challenges we have. So we need to have the key judicial reforms to initiate by the India. I have prepared the lengthy of the notes, but I drawn for the one of the important points I will explain to you. The one of the important point is digitalization of the courts, the e-governance. Nowadays we are also discussing with the aim of to modernize the judicial infrastructure and reduce the delays in the case processing. The second one, alternative dispute resolutions, ADR mechanisms. In order to address backlog cases, we have to provide the expedite the dispute of the resolutions. The Indian legal system have been providing and the promoting for the alternative dispute and resolution. The government of India, through the initiative, the recently National Legal Service Authority has provided for the actively promoting for the ADR mechanisms. And also structural reforms we need to appointments. Appointment of the judicial appointments of judges, the long have been subject to the debate and very particularly the concerning of the lack of transparency, accountability in the process. We need to reform on that. And also the fast track courts. We have to provide fast track courts in the specialized tribunals also to tackle the growing backlog cases and also the expedite of the resolution, specifically different types of the disputes. India has to establish a fast track courts and the specialized tribunals. And one more thing, legal aid and also the access to the justice. They propose the next future judicial system and also the importance of the policy driven judicial transformation and the need for the technology integration and the AI tools we have to use for the driven justice system. The integrations of the technology and the interpretation into the judiciary have been the game changer for the reform of the one of the judicial reforms. It tends to be expected to the accessibility of the justice in the future also. The artificial intelligence can be the expedite case processing and by the assisting for the legal research and documentation reviews and so on. The AI driven system could significantly reduce the human errors, enhance the efficiency of the case management also. The AI driven tools can be structurally streamline judicial process and also the ensure faster and also the more equitable justice delivery. The strengthening of the transparency and also the accountability mechanism. A key element for this, the future of the judiciary is enhancing the transparency and also the accountability. The encouraging of the greater participation of the women and also the marginalized sections of the groups in the judiciary. We all know the inclusion of the women and also marginalized groups in the judiciary system is another key game changer for the aspect of future judicial reforms. Currently, the judiciary India has very predominantly several times all the judges are saying, all the scholars are they saying that the high level hierarchical system or one community has leading this system. We have to change this reform and encouraging the greater participation for the women and also the marginalized sections. The long-term reforms for the more inclusive and accessibility for the legal system. In a long run, we have the judicial reforms, but it has to the practically implementation. It aims to the create of legal system that inclusive, accessibility and responsive to need for the public. This includes the making judicial services available to the all the citizens. At the end of this judicial reform in India as the essential address for the pressing challenges faced by the legal system and also such a case backlogs and delay adjudication. These are all for the reforms to need to reform immediately to address the all the challenges for the judicial reforms in India. Thank you.
Professor Chalabala Venkateshwar, and he is from Usmania University, Hyderabad, and has presented judicial reforms in India and what are the challenges and prospects. And his paper throws light on the judiciary system is the cornerstone of Indian Constitution. It protects the Constitution as well as the fundamental rights of Indian people. And at the same time, a judicial system facing a lot of the problems. And he made some suggestion how to improve and how to bring the reforms in the judicial system. He said bringing digitalization in judicial system and participation of women and marginalized community in judicial process. These are the some important areas where we should press on. And on behalf of ICSSR and Vijayanagara Deva University and Organizing Secretary G. Kumar, and I am thankful to Dr. Venkateshwar for a beautiful presentation. Now the session is open for discussion, and if you have any questions on judicial reforms as well as if you want to add something supplementary to his paper and presentation, and you are most welcome to present. ನ್ಯಾಯಾಂಗ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಹಾಗೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ತಾವು ಏನಾದರೂ ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿದ್ರೆ ಎಸ್
ನ್ಯಾಯಾಂಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನ್ಯಾಯ ದೊರಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಸಿಗೋದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸತ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಮಾತಾಗಿದೆ. ಎಷ್ಟೇ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗಾದ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಬೇಗನೆ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬೇಗನೆ ದೊರೆಯಬೇಕು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಮಾರ್ಗವನ್ನು ಅನುಸರಿಸಿದ್ರೆ ಬೇಗ
Yes, I will explain. Now, he is asking a question. And our judicial system is, judicial process is very slow. And some people will get justice after their death. Is there a mechanism? Is there any solution from your side? How to speed up delivery of justice?
I have made already suggestions on this fast track courts and also the establishment of the tribunals at the local level to more participation for this the citizens and also to improve our judicial system, as I mentioned several reforms on that, so that we could able to get the justice immediately. I have mentioned here the fast track courts. Fast track courts are there, so we have to initiate the effective functionality on that.
ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಸರಿ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸಾರಿ ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನು ಕೆಲವರು ಸತ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಪಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಡಿಲೇಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಜಸ್ಟಿಸ್ ಡಿನೈಡ್ ಅಂತ. ಯಾವ ನ್ಯಾಯ ನಿಮಗೆ ತಡವಾಗಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ ಅದು ನ್ಯಾಯನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು ಈ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅದಾಲತ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ, ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಾವು ನ್ಯಾಯವನ್ನು ತ್ವರಿತವಾಗಿ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಅವರ ಸಜೆಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಓಕೆ, ವಿತ್ permission of the resource person president, I would like to call upon and paper presenters Thippeswamy H ಇದರ ಓಕೆ ಚಿಮ್ಮ ವೆಂಕಟೇಶ್ವರ ವೆಂಕಟರಾಮನ್, ಕೃಷ್ಣಾರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ರಾಣ ಗೋವಿಂದಯ್ಯ, ರಾಮನ ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿ ಬರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ Rama Govindaya is going to present paper on role of women political parties empowerment in Constituent Assembly, a doctrinal study anta. Okay sir. Sir, you have 8 minutes and you have to present your paper within 6 to 7 minutes and 1 minute to 2 minutes for discussion.
Good afternoon to all. My name is Dr. C. Ram Govindaya, Academic Consultant, Department of Law, Sri Krishnadevaraya University, Anantapuram. My paper presentation, Role of Women Political Empowerment in Constituent Assembly, a Doctrinal Study. Women's representation in politics has its impact on every relation of the social life, leadership, administration, social status, economic empowerment, literacy and education, health and hygiene. Whether impact is visible and substantial in the issue. However, before going into details, it is important to understand the stance of politics. Informal, micro-political that involves sectional organization, movements and process. Formal, macro politics that in mostly partly politics and representation in decision making bodies. Public administration, which is governance and party political governance and participation in judicial and semi-judicial administrative bodies are 4 major areas of political and administrative process prevailing in India. Women's equal participation in the decision-making process, policy making, planning and administration is very significant to ensure women's equality as well as the equal participation in the development process. As a membership in legislative, nominated or elected bodies distinctly affects power relationship, and as these members are allotted development funds such as MLA fund or MP fund in India. Women's participation and leadership in these deliberate bodies are very significant. The findings of this study shows that different casual facts such as education, economic, religion, social and cultural factors contributed to women's poor political participation in country. According to the statistics on women participation in politics, women but not drastically as we see women participation in politics from 1952 to 2024 in India. But still awareness should be created among women to participation in political with the courage. Women participation politics is essential. Political empowerment can be defined as a capacity to influence decision-making process, planning, implementation, and evaluation by integrating them into the political system. Political empowerment supports creating policies that best support gender equality and agency for women in both the public and private spheres. Methods that have been suggested are to create informative actions policies that have a quota for the number of women in policy making and parliament positions. The idea of women empowerment is gaining ground on the basis of successful achievements by women in real life reality. Empowering women may be considered in general where they will be provided every freedom and opportunity to help them self-dependent. In specific situations, they may be empowered in the power structure of the society. The word women empowerment essentially means that the women have the capacity to regulate their day-to-day lives in the social, political, and economic terms. The principle of gender equality is protected in the Indian Constitution in its preamble. Fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and directive principles of state policy. The Constitution not only grants equality to women but also empowers the state to adopt measures, a position and indiscrimination of favor of women within the framework of democratic polity. Our laws, developmental policies, plans and programs are aimed to women's advancement in different spheres. India has also ratified various international conventions to secure rights of women. The women's movement earns widespread networking of non-governmental organizations having strong grassroots presence and deep insight in women's conscience have contributed in stimulating initiatives for the empowerment of women. Women today are trying to understand their position in the society. Women have become increasingly aware of sexual inequalities in every sphere of life and are seeking ways to fight them in these days of scam-ridden politics. The increasing role of money and mafia in elections keeps most of the women away from politics. Increasing violences and redness against them insult women and consequently they prefer to stay away from policies. 1947 to 1950, the framing of the new constitution, the struggle for independence was those over by 15th August 1947. But the attainment of independence was not an end itself. It was only the beginning of a struggle, the struggle to live as an independent nation and at the same time establish a democracy based on the ideas of justice, liberty, equality and fraternity. The need of a new constitution forming the basic law of the land for the realization of these ideas was paramount. Therefore, one of the first tasks undertaken by independent India was the framing of a new constitution. Let's take a look at the powerful women who helped draft our constitution. One, Ammu Swaminathan. Two, Dakshayini Velayudan Begum, Azia Rasul. Durgabai Deshmukh, Hansi Jivraj Mehta and Kamala Chaudhary and Leela Rai, Pramoji Banerjee, Rajkumari Amrita Kaur, Renuka Rai, Sarojini Naidu, Sucheta Kripalani, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, and so many women leaders participated in the Constituent Assembly. Now I conclude my article. India has a rich history of meaning political participation of women since its independence. The decentralization of governance, which is taking place for last 2 decades, has increased the importance of measuring participation of women in decision making. Proper gender budgeting already being worked of our inclusive growth of women and girls by allocating 1/3 budget for the women in all these schemes. The Indian government has a lot of emphasis on utilizing real-time data for meaning different social indicators and using them for policy intervention. With more responsive data on women participation, better gender budgeting initiatives aim to move the country towards a gender equal society. Thank you, sir. Thank you this opportunity.
Thank you, Rama Govindagaru, Doctor. Sarah has mentioned the role of the women, very less participation in politics and participation for the constituent at the constitution level and also the grassroots level, the Panchayat Raj system also. They have know the decision making process and also the very less capacity building. He has mentioned to provide the empowering of the women for the self-depending, to provide the programs and policies for the empowerment of the women, to need the grassroots level organizations, civil society organizations and also NGOs to train them and also the participating the mainstream politics. He has given some of the examples for the women empowerment, also the elected members of the parliament also and also the assemblies. So thank you, Govindagaru. If you have any questions and also the adding matter, please open the floor. No?
Okay, thank you. Next I to call upon Dr. D. Madhavi, Dr. J. Krishna and Rajma TMR. Dr. T. Manimanjula, Ganesh P. Seth, Gayatri, Gayatri, she is going to present paper on the role of law in effective governance towards Vikasit Bharat at 2047.
Good afternoon to all respected dignitaries. Myself Gayatri, Assistant Professor, GFGC, Mahakas, Kalburgi District. Today, I want to present my seminar paper. The slogan, the other PXR slogan, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. My title, the role of law in effective governance towards Vikasit Bharat at 2047. The goal to become developed nation 100 years from independence, a worthy challenge. It can be achieved with the right mindset and people participation in good governance. Law plays a crucial role in building and supporting governance system in modern societies. The legal framework provides the structure within which political, economic, social institutions operate and directly affect the effectiveness and efficiency of governance in the process of effective governance. This paper focuses on how laws are helpful in effective governance towards the Vikasit Bharat 2047. Responsiveness, efficiency and effectiveness, these characters should be in effective governance for the all being of any country. India aims to become a developed nation by 2047, making 100 years of independence. This vision of Viksit Bharat requires a strong, transparent and efficient governance system rooted in the rule of law. Law provides the foundation for stability, economical growth, social justice and environmental sustainability, ensuring coherence in governance. The role of law in governance is crucial for achieving their vision by promoting accountability, reducing corruption, safeguarding rights and fostering inclusive development. The Panchaprana of Amritkar represent the vision of our nation, good governance principles and practices the goal of a developed India. To remove any trace of colonial mindset, take pride in our roots and unity and sense of duty among citizens. These are the resolutions of Panchaprana. The nation will focus attention on Panchaprana for the coming 22 years while empowering citizens and reaching last mile as a priority of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Then the nation celebrates 100 years of independence. An agenda of maximum governance, minimum government envisages a digitally empowered citizens and digitally transferred information bringing government and citizens closer using technology is important for ease of living and ease of doing business. The goal of government, all round, all progressive and all inclusive development model, the important priority sector scheme where saturation approach has been adopted include the Har Ghar Jal Yojana, PM Awas Yojana, Indradhanush, Mission Indradhanush, PM Ujjwala Yojana, PM Jan Arogya Yojana, PM Matruvandana Yojana, Vishwakarma Yojana and Kisan Credit Card schemes. The vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas has been the overreaching national development goals. The Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Governance, a model agency in respect of policy initiative on public governance, redressal mechanism and citizen-centric institutions. How good governance helps to achieve Viksit Bharat at 2047. The good governance is a comprehensive and implementable framework to assess the state of governance across state or union territory sectors. Comes under good governance is agriculture and sector, commerce and industry, human resource development, public health, public infrastructure and utilities, economical governance, social welfare and development, judiciary and public safety, environment and citizen-centric governance. Key roles of law in governance. The key, what is the government involves in administrative, ensuring stability and order. The laws provide structure and prevent anxiety. Promoting economic growth, a well-regulated legal system boosts investors' confidence to invest in economical sectors. Safeguarding rights and liberties. Laws such as Prevention of Corruption Act 1988 promote accountability and transparency, ensuring social welfare. India Constitution is a supreme law, ensures fundamental rights and duties for balancing individual freedom and national responsibility. Separation of power between the legislature, executive and judiciary. Directive principles of state policy that guides policies for economic and social development. In judicial reforms, a speedy and accessible justice system is crucial. Fast track courts for quick case resolution. Alternative dispute resolution mechanism like mediation and attribution. Judicial accountability to prevent corruption and bias. Electoral and political reforms. For effective governance, elections must be free, fair and transparent. Laws must regulate. Anti-defection laws to maintain political stability. Political funding and donations to prevent corruption. A truly developed nation prioritizes social justice, ensuring equal opportunities for all citizens, women's empowerment and gender justice, education and healthcare. The Right to Education Act 2025 enforcement to improve literacy rates in the nation. It helps to the leads to the develop India, Viksit Bharat. National health policies implementation also helps to the develop our India as a Viksit Bharat at the developed nation in at 2047. and other environmental laws. Some strong environmental laws helps to balance economic progress with ecological responsibility. And finally, sustainable development. SDGs aims to achieve by 2030 with 17 goals and 169 indicators. And finally, role of technology in legal government informs. Nowadays, e-governance plays a major role in better public services delivery, government to citizen, government to business, government to government. AI and blockchain based government system are to eliminate bureaucratic inefficiency. It can significantly contribute to achieving the Vikasit Bharat. Finally, I conclude the vast amount of work undertaken in brushing in the technology revolution in governance from 2019 to 2024 that has ended millions of Indians to reap the benefit transparency in governance for the timelines of disposal and quality decision making. The 182-meter statue of Liberty, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, provides inspiration for the nation's relentless commitment to excellence in the Amritkal period. I conclude the quote thus Shri Narendra Modi sir, PM, our nation. When I first visited the US as Prime Minister, India was the 10th largest economy in the world. Today, India is the 5th largest economy and India will be the 3rd largest economy very soon. We are not only growing bigger, but we are also growing faster. When India grows, the whole world grows after all. We are 16th of world's population in last country. When India won its freedom, it inspired many other countries to free themselves from colonial rule in the country. When India sets benchmark in growth, it will inspire many other countries to do the same. One reason is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas. Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, madam. Timely completed your paper. So, Gayatri madam has they mentioned the role of the effective of the governance to provide towards the Vikasit Bharat 2047. How the laws prepared and the effectiveness of the governance. She has provided the very insightful discussions. These goals 2047, some of the major initiatives have taken up by the central government schemes. The Pancha Prana schemes have provided for the aims and goals of this Vikasit Bharat. The maximum governance and minimum governance, she has mentioned on that. This process, she has provided the Pradhan Mantri Yojana schemes towards the providing the good governance for the various sectors like the judicial reforms, electoral, health, environmental, and also finally, she has mentioned the AI tool also used for the good governance. Very insightful paper. Now,
if you have any queries and or if you want to add any supplementary or anything, you can ask questions and you can add.
Science, technology, and something health concepts. For free, I have one question. If I have health issues, if I move to the doctor, he will give 2 tablets. Right? Before that, he was giving only 1 tablet. Present, he was giving 2 tablets. One for direct for our health. ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಇಂಪ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಅವನೇನು ಸೈಡ್ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕೊಟ್ಟು 2 ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸೇಮ್ ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಡೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಹೆಲ್ತ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಇತ್ತೀಚೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಕಸಿತ್
ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್, ಈಗ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಕವರಿ ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನೀವೇನ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗುವಂತ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರೋಗಗಳಿದಾವೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಕವರೆನ್ಸಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಡ್ವಾನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನೆಗಡಿ ಜ್ವರ ಬಂತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಮೂಲಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಕೇರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಿತೌಟ್ ಮೆಡಿಸನ್ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯೂರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಟೈಮ್ ನಮಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ಓಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಬಟ್ ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್ಗೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬಹಳ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತೆ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ನಾವು ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಾವು ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಅದು ಯೂಸೇಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ನಾವು ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ 100 ಇಯರ್ಸ್, ಇನ್ನು 22 ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಹೇಗೆ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ.
Okay, thank you. Before going to call next presenter, let me take attendance, those who are present here. And Kallepalli Prashant, Ramchandran, okay, Kurubara Hemeshwar, idira kutholi, Pooja, Sudhakar Naik, Mettipalli Naveshri, Rajesh AJ JK, Ramavat Ravi, Sangeeta Chandrasekhara, Satish Lokarwadi. Am I right? How to spell this? Lokarwadi. Yeah. Shweta A. Nagavi. Somlingappa Alagi. Supra. Oh. So now I request Kurubara Hemeshwar idira? Okay. Okay. You are welcome. And he is going to present paper on election laws in India.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಮೇಶ್ವರ್ ಅಂತ, ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪರ್ಫಾರ್ಮಿಂಗ್ ಆರ್ಟ್ಸ್. ನಮ್ಮದು ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ ಬಂದು ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣಾ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳು. ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳ ಇತಿಹಾಸವನ್ನು ನೋಡೋದಾದರೆ, ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಒಂದು ಇತಿಹಾಸವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಗಳು ಆಧುನಿಕ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ವಿದ್ಯಮಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸ ಪರಿಕಲ್ಪನೆಗಳು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕ ಕುಟುಂಬಗಳ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಆಯೋಗವನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಮತ್ತು ಒಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮಟ್ಟ ಮತ್ತು ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗಳನ್ನು ನಡೆಯುವಂತ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಈಗಿನ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತ ದಿನಮಾನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಸಮುದಾಯದ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಕಾಲಗಳು ಅಂದಾಗ ಜಾತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಸಮುದಾಯಗಳು ಎರಡೂ ಕೂಡ ಬರುವಂಥದ್ದು ನೋಡಿ. ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಒಂದು ರಾಜ್ಯರು ಮತ್ತೆ ರಾಜರು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದಂಥ ಮಂತ್ರಿಮಂಡಲ ಮತ್ತು ಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳ ಗಿರಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಆಗಿನ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ವೈಯಕ್ತಿಕವಾದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಒಂದು ಕೊಡುಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು, ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯಾದಂತಹ ಬೇಡಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬೇಡಿಕೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತಾವು ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರಾಚೀನ ಭಾರತದ ವಿವಿಧ ಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಕ್ರಿಸ್ತಪೂರ್ವ 4ನೇ ಶತಮಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಷುದ್ರ ಕಮಲ ಸಂಘ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯಲ್ಪಡುವ ಗಣರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ನಾವು. ಕ್ಷುದ್ರ ಕಮಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಕ್ರಿಸ್ತಶಕ 4ನೇ ಶತಮಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಷುದ್ರ ಕಮಲ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಗಣರಾಜ್ಯ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಕ್ಕೂಟವಿತ್ತು. ಅಲೆಕ್ಸಾಂಡರ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಶಾಲವಾದಂತಹ ಪ್ರತಿರೋಧವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಗ್ರೀಕರು ಎಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ, ನಾವು ಯಾವುದೇವನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೀಕರ ಒಂದು ಒಡನಾಟವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಗ್ರೀಕರಿಂದ ಬಂದಂತ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನಾವು ಕೊಡುಗೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಆ ಗ್ರೀಕರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಂತ ಕೊಡುಗೆಯ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದು, ಮತ್ತು ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಭಾರತ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಮಾಡಿದಂತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಿ ಆರ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ದೇಶದಿಂದ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಇಂದು ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ರಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂತದ್ದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ. ಆ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥಿತವಾಗಿ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರತಿ ಪುರುಷನಿಗೆ, ಭಾರತದ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಮತದಾನದ ಹಕ್ಕು ಬೇಕು. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಕ್ಕೂಟವಾದಂತ ಒಂದು ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿಯುತವಾದ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಹಕ್ಕು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಇದೆ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದನ್ನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ದಿನನಿತ್ಯ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಕಡೆ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸಮುದಾಯಗಳ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ನೀವು ಮತದಾನ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುವಂತ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಷ್ಟರ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಾವಲಂಬಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಮತದಾನದ ಹಕ್ಕು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಬೇಕು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮತದಾನದ ಕಾನೂನು ಅಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಭಾರತ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಬರೆದಂತ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಿ ಆರ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾವ ಹಕ್ಕು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿದೆಯೋ ಆ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ನಾವು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸಬೇಕು, ಆ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಜೆಗೂ ತಿಳಿಸುವಂತ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿಗಳ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ವರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಅಸೆಂಬ್ಲಿಗಳು ನಡೀತಾ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನು ತರುವಂತ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂದಾಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ ನಿಯಮಗಳು ಏನಿರ್ತವೆ ಈಗ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು, ಕುಡಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಗಾಗಬೇಡಿ, ದುಡ್ಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅನೇಕವಾದಂತ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಮಾರಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ಮಾರಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರಜೆಯು ನಾಳೆ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಗೆದ್ದಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ, ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಗೆದ್ದಂತ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನಾದ್ರೂ ಕೇಳಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ದುಡ್ಡು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋ ನಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನು ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕೆಲಸಗಳು ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ನಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ಚಲಾಯಿಸಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ಚಲಾಯಿಸಿದ ನಂತರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ, ಆರೋಗ್ಯ, ಹಲವಾರು ರೀತಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಊರಿನ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಕೇಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಹಕ್ಕು ಇರ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದಾಗ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ಚಲಾಯಿಸಿದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ನಾವು ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ನಾವು ದುಡ್ಡಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಹೋಗುವಂತ ನಿಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ನೋಡಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತದಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಯ ನೀತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಇತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಶಾಸಕಾಂಗ ಮತ್ತು ಗಣರಾಜ್ಯ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಭಾರತವನ್ನು ಸಾರ್ವಭೌಮ ಸಮಾಜವಾದಿ ಜಾತ್ಯತೀತ ಪ್ರಜಾಸತ್ತಾತ್ಮಕ ಗಣರಾಜ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಘೋಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಒಂದು ಒಕ್ಕೂಟದಿಂದ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ನಾವು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಳವಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಗಣರಾಜ್ಯವಾಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಣಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಒಂದು ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಾನೂನು ಪ್ರಕಾರವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬದ್ಧತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಮನವಿಯನ್ನು ನಾನು ಕಾಣ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಈಗ ಕನ್ನಡದವರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಮೇಶ್ವರ್ ಅವರು ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಏನೋ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತ ಕಾನೂನುಗಳೇನಪ್ಪ ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದ್ರೆ
ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಡೆಲ್ಲಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇವಾಗ ಈಗಿನ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ನಡೀತಿದೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಅಂತ ಸಾಕ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅಗತ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಜನರಿಗಿಂತ ಮೀರಿ ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ 5 ವರ್ಷದ ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಅಧಿಕಾರಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ದುರ್ಬಳಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ನೋ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಚುನಾವಣೆ ಆಯ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಭಾರತದ ಚುನಾವಣಾ ಆಯೋಗ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್?
ನೀವು ಕೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದು ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಈಗಿನ ರಾಜಕೀಯ
ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ನನ್ನ ಅನಿಸಿಕೆ ಮೋರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟೈಸ್
ಹೇಳಿ.
ನೋಡಪ್ಪ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಶ ಮತ್ತು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥ ರಾಜ್ಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಮತ ಚಲಾವಣೆ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾವೆ ಮತ್ತು ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಕೂಡ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಧಿಕಾರವನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಣಾಳಿಕೆ ಮುಖಾಂತರ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಮನುಷ್ಯ ನೀವು ಕರೆದು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ನಾವು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೊಡೋ ಉಚಿತಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಭಾಗಿಯಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದೇ ನೀವು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬಂದು ಸೇರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆರೋಗ್ಯ ಅದೇ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪಡಿತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಹೇಳಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ನಾವು ನೋಡಿ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಸರ್ಕಾರವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ತಾನು ಮೇಲ್ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವನು ಒಂದು ದೇಶದ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗ್ತದೋ ಅಥವಾ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ನಾನು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ತನ್ನ ಹಿಂದಿರುವಂತ ಕುಟುಂಬಗಳಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವನು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಿ ತಾನೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾನೆ, ತನ್ನಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಖರ್ಚು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ನೀನು ಹೋಗಿ ನಾಳೆ ನನ್ನ ಗ್ರಾಮೀಣ ಪ್ರದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊರತೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಪ್ಪ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಹೊರತಾಗಿ ನಿನ್ನನ್ನು ಕೇಳಿ ಅದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಬಗೆಹರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಬಿಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ. ಆಯ್ತು ಬಿಡು ನೋಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಮಾಧಾನಕರವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳುವಂತ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗೆ
one nimisha. I want to stop this for some time. We have two experts in the session. Sir, he is asking the one question. If you observe the elections going on in Karnataka as well as a recent election in Delhi, whatever the elections, and he is arguing that he is asking all the elections are going not on the basis of issues. It is only on the basis of false manifestos. How to prevent this and how to tackle this? He is asking that question.
दान में पॉलिटिक्स अंటారు సార్, అదే పాలిటిక్స్ అట్నే ఉంటుంది పాలిటిక్స్ అంతా కూడా. ఎలక్షన్ will be like that only.
Krishna Kumar sir will explain the Telangana situation.
I will speak in English. See, politics is like that only. Issues never come up. For example, they will speak about identities, they will speak about regionalism, caste, but they will never discuss real issues. Ultimately in politics, political parties want elections, that's all. Real solutions mundayi. So there is never a discussion about real issues. So it is always, every party does like that. Okay, correct. A party is Karnataka, so right now there is Congress party in Karnataka. They have promised you so many things. Have they implemented it? Same thing in Telangana. They have promised everything. It is not possible. In fact, you see, BJP has promised so many things. In 2014, they have not implemented it. So it goes on like that. They will never discuss real issues which concern the people. So they will discuss only such issues which are helpful to them in garnering votes, in getting votes. See, ultimately their objective is how to win elections. Thank you.
No.
ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದರಿಂದ ವಿಕಸಿತ ಭಾರತ ಎಂಬ ಕನಸನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪೂರೈಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದಾ? Yes sir, but
Ramil sir, they have explained it so well. It's under development for whom? Development model, whose model? People, who are the people? Actually, we say we the people of India, but who are the people who drafted it? Are we really involved in it? So it is a really big challenge. We have to go on doing our, we have to play our part as a part of political party, as a part of civil society, as a part of NGO, as a part of student groups. So before that, they say our vice chancellors are Chennamma, vice chancellor. I was exhorting you, asking you to raise issues, ask questions, and he was trying to tell you about your role of the student. So it is that is a real challenge. Viksit Bharat annadi not that easy.
ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸರ್, ಇವಾಗ ಫ್ರೀ ಬೀಸಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಫ್ರೀ ಬೀಸಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ನಾಗ ಕೇರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲ ಯಾವ್ದು ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೀ ಬೀಸಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಇದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ವಿಕಸಿತ ಭಾರತ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ
every political party is offering you free fees. Some of them give for some days, some of them do not give. For example, Kejriwal did not give money in Punjab, did not give money in Delhi. He lost the election. BJP promised them. They won the election. For example, Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Katakat, Adadar Pasu, 8,500. Katakat, మీ అకౌంట్ లో పడితే it will be given in your accounts అన్నారు. రాలే పైసలు, అప్పుడు రాలే. So that is what we call as politics, and still we have not come to a stage where it happens in developed countries. See, when they promise something, they tell you where they will get funds from. In India, it is not that they can make promises. They get away with it. Long term, only promise every person will be given 15 lakhs. And మేము అందే అంటారా 15 lakhs will come to you, but it never came. 2 crore jobs per annum అన్నారు. రాలే కదా. This goes on. It's a kind of drama, political drama.
Okay.
Sir, I feel like structurally we are undermining our education system. Even though there is social studies up to that standard, in schools we are not teaching properly, and one of the objective of our national education policy is civic awareness. But if we go to the schools and ask them, even the teachers, they don't know what is civic, how to involve students into the politics, how to make them understand. There are so many people who are getting their information from social media, but it is narrative. But through education we can give them the proper information. If we focus on the education, we can eliminate all these things in democracy especially. That's what I think.
That's not, see, many of us aspire for some positions. We would like to get jobs. For example, many of us become teachers. But how many of us teach honestly? There's a big question mark.
There only, sir, that the policy evaluation when it comes to social studies is not particularly done. Like we are only evaluating the sciences, how many marks the students are getting, but on social studies we are not properly evaluating. Even the governments are also not showing interest in it.
But these are the real challenges we have. So the struggle is always on. We should keep on struggling to get that mixing.
Thank you. Next, I would like to call upon Sudhakar Naik. Naik is going to present paper on strengthening India's environmental legal framework, a constitutional mandate for Vikasit Bharat 2047.
Good afternoon to the respected dignitaries, fellow researchers, and esteemed participants. I am Sudhakar Naik, a research scholar in the Department of Political Science from Central University of Andhra Pradesh. It is my privilege to present a paper on strengthening India's environmental legal framework, a constitutional mandate for Viksit Bharat 2047. As we all know, environmental challenges in India have become increasingly complex due to urbanization, industrial growth, and unsustainable practices. My research paper focuses on existing laws, identify gaps, and proposes reforms to achieve sustainable and environmental governance aligned with the nation's development vision for 2047. And I have divided this research paper into research objectives, research methodology, followed by overview of existing environmental laws in India, constitutional provisions for environmental protection in India, challenges in environmental governance, and international best practices on environmental protection. And finally, I want to give recommendations to strengthen environmental protection laws in India. Firstly, I would like to start with my research objectives. The objectives of my research are threefold. The first objective is to analyze the strengths and limitations of India's current environmental legal framework. And the second one is to propose necessary constitutional amendments that could provide stronger environmental protections. And the third objective is to recommend strategies aligned with the environmental best practices to support India's sustainable development goals. and I would like to discuss a overview of existing environmental laws in India. India has comprehensive legal framework to address environmental issues like Environmental Protection Act 1986. It regulates the industrial activities and sets environmental standards. Another one is the Air Act, which focuses on air pollution control. And the third one is the Water Act 1974. It manages water pollution. And the Forest Conservation Act 1980. It protects forest resources. Despite these laws, enforcement remains weak due to limited resources, fragmented governance, and public apathy. There are some constitutional provisions in India for environmental protection. Environmental protection found constitutional recognition through the 42nd Amendment in 1976. Article 48A mandates the state to safeguard the environment. Article 51A(g) assigns citizens the duty to protect natural resources. There are some judicial interventions in protecting environment, such as NC Mehta versus Union of India. This judicial intervention reinforced the right to clean environment as a part of the right to life under Article 21. There are some challenges in environmental governance in India. Despite these legal provisions, several challenges persist. One of the challenges is weak enforcement. This is due to pollution control boards face resource and manpower shortages. There are institutional inefficiencies and public disengagement, and there are judicial delays. And some of the international best practices that we could align with the environmental protection laws in India. From Germany, the Environmental Code 2002 promotes sustainability through coordinated governance. From Costa Rica, the Payments for Ecosystem Services incentivizes forest conservation. From Sweden, integrated environmental policies ensure that sustainability is embedded in all government decisions. India can adopt a similar integrated incentive-based approach to environmental governance. And finally, through my research, I would recommend the following actions. One of the recommendation is to strengthen enforcement mechanisms, and second one is public awareness campaigns, and the third one is community participation, and fourth one is international collaborations. To conclude my research paper, India's environmental challenges require a strategic and collaborative responses. Constitutional amendments, institutional reforms, and increased public participation are crucial. Aligning the legal framework with international standards will not only protect India's natural resources but also support the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you. Thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Sudhakar. He has made a brief presentation on the environmental laws and the legal framework for the constitutional provisions. So he has divided into different types, 4 or 5 types. Existing laws, how made the best practices for the international level, and also some of the challenges he has mentioned. He also made some of the recommendations for the best practices for the environmental protection laws. Now the floor is open for the discussion, any queries and also the anybody.
My question is the claimed environmentally friendly wind turbines, wind energy is beneficial, no doubt, but the wind energy hampers biodiversity, specifically the birds. So, is there scope for the companies to be held responsible? Is there scope for a law to be brought in place as a regulatory framework? Yes, that was just the best practices can be
Can you go again?
The claimed environmental friendly wind turbines, okay, they are used to tap wind energy. So they have a negative impact on biodiversity. They lead to deaths of birds. You might be knowing this. So, is there a scope for law to be brought in place?
Yes, there is a scope. We can brought legislation in Article 21A, which is right to liberty. In that article, we can include one of the legislation to protect we call birds. Yeah. In such way, we can amend the Article 21.
Thank you.
Okay, next I would like to call up Rajesh JK. Rajesh JK is going to present paper on an analysis of Indian federalism and its challenges in the modern Indian democracy.
A warm good afternoon to you all. Respected chairperson of this technical session, reporter of this technical session, and all the dignitaries of the day, especially Murli sir, and all the paper presenters of different parts of the country, and all the research scholars and dear student friends of the VST University. Myself, Rajesh JK, advocate, High Court of Karnataka, and presently research scholar, Department of Political Science, Bangalore University, under the supervision of Dr. Veena Devi, Senior Professor, Department of Political Science, Bangalore. Today I am before you to present my article entitled that an analysis of the Indian federalism and its challenges in the modern Indian democracy. In my article, I covered the concept of federalism, definition part, then major judicial pronouncement regarding the Indian federalism, features of the Indian federalism, center-state relations, then agencies for cooperative federalism and working of cooperative federalism, need of cooperative federalism, and challenges to the Indian federalism and major recommendations to outcome of that part. So due to lack of time, I am going to summarize the research article. Prior going to article discussion, we have three questions. First one, whether the country is truly federal. The answer is negative because of it's not a truly federal country. The second question is whether the country is a unitary form of government, whether they adopted a unitary form of government. The answer is negative because both the features of the federal government and unitary government we have adopted. The third question is whether the country India is a quasi-federal. The answer is affirmative because of we adopted the two government features. According to Professor Casey, where he explained that India is not a true federal country, it is a quasi-federal. Okay. So comes to the concept. What's the word federalism? Federalism means a system of government which is divided the governmental administrative powers into two governments, that is union and state governments. Both the governments act independently and cooperatively, but both the government must cooperate among them. It means each and every government has sovereign powers to act their own sphere, but they don't have any right to violate their sphere. It isn't federalism. Comes to Professor Casey, where he explained that Indian federalism is a quasi-federal, is not a truly federal country because of they adopted both the governmental features. Comes to the Professor A.B. Dicey concept. David Dice, we are all known about that. He is a father of rule of law. He explained the concept of federalism in the book of Understanding the Indian Constitution or English Constitution. He explained that a federal government or federalism is a system or is a means of dividing the powers between the two governments. But both the governments are controlled by the written constitution. This definition was given by Professor K. Silver. Comes to the characteristics of the federalism. The main characteristics of federalism are features of the federalism. Likely, move on to the main points. Features of the federalism is the division of powers, then supremacy of the constitution, independent judiciary, and rigidity. Comes to the Supreme Court pronouncements, and in the case of state of Rajasthan versus Union of India, AIR 1977. In the case of SR Bombay versus Union of India, in the state of Haryana versus in the state of Punjab. In the case of West Bengal versus Union of India, AR 1963. In this case, Supreme Court explained the federalism and Indian federalism structure. Comes to the cooperative federalism and center-state relations. There is a three types of relations. One is legislative, administrative, and financial relations. Comes to the agencies for cooperation is Niti Aayog, zonal councils, then regional councils, interstate councils. Then Article 261, then 7 scheduled full and fair credits. These are considered agencies for cooperation and coordination. Comes to major challenges to the Indian democracy. The major challenges are: one is over centralization of the powers. In India, central governments have exclusive powers, and most administrative powers are vested in the hands of central government, including residuary powers. Then one of the major challenges is regionalism. In India, regionalism doing mainly highly threatened to the union government, especially Tamil Nadu state. Comes to other challenges to the Indian federalism is limitation of interstate councils. And Article 263, the President of India have right to constitute interstate council, but interstate council recommendations are only in the nature of recommendation, not in a binding force on the central government. Comes to the uniform approach, this is also one of the major challenges. Then fiscal federalism also one of the major challenges. Then multi-party system, etc. Comes to the suggestion part. Governor of state must act as an agent of the union government, and he must act in accordance with the constitution, not given by the direction by the union government. Then presidential rules also recommending presidential rules. Then president veto power, the international agreements. In these relations, I made suggestions. Everything is covered under the article. Comes to the conclusion part. So, in order to maintain the unity and integrity of the India and constitutional values, upholds the constitutional values, we need a strong cooperative federalism in India. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. You also timely covered for the big debate on the federalism nowadays. He has mentioned so many quotations for the definitions of the federalism, and also the discussed for the cooperative federalism, and also the competitive federalism, and the fiscal federalism. How the federalism has working for this different cases also provided for the union government also, and also state governments. He posed some of the challenges and also given the suggestions. Any questions from this talk, please?
Okay, thank you. Now I would like to call upon Ramavat Ravi, and who is going to present fragility of federalism in India, past and present situations.
Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, Chair sir. Myself, I am Ramavat Ravi from Hyderabad. I'm a research scholar, Center for Economics and Social Studies, SES, Begumpet, Hyderabad. Presently, I am working under the guidance of Dr. Vijay Korra. Thank you given this opportunity. My topic is the fragility of federalism in India, past and present situations. Sir, I have small request, sir. My full paper is not completed, sir. Still, I am working on full paper. So, presently, I am talking on my abstract issues, sir. This is the secondary data paper, sir. My paper is covered on three central questions, sir. One is what is federalism and fragility, and another question is federalism feature or characteristics, and final question. My final question is federalism threatenings and challenges. Now I will explain first question. What is fragility and federalism? Fragility comes from the Latin word fragilis, which means brittle, easily broken. It also comes from the Middle French word fragility, which means debility or fragility. And also the federalism. The federalism words comes from Latin word foedus, which means alliance or legacies. And also I will try to cover what is federalism in India. India is a federal system, but it is more learning toward unity system. The government of India Act 1919 separated powers between the center and provisional legislatures. That means nowadays states, according to many scholars explain what is federalism, what is cooperative federalism. Like Granville Austin called India is a cooperative federalism. Federalism have some features. One is dual government, another is division of powers, and written constitution, bicameral legislation, rigidity and with flexibility, independent judiciary, and also some major challenges. I would like to conclude major challenges of Indian federalism. Indian federalism faces several major challenges today, including regionalism, language conflicts, and balance between union and states, and the role of governance and economic and social planning, and that's for the Central Bureau of Investigation CBI and legislative conflicts. So dual government means India is a dual follow the dual polity, which means both central and state government. Like parliamentary democracy, union government works at the central level, and state government operate at the regional levels. And division of power is very important in federalist system. Like division of powers means division of powers mentions three lists. One is union list, state list, concurrent list. Union list have 100 issues and presently, and state list have 61 and concurrent list have 52. Like mainly in union list mention main issues are foreign affairs and defense and other national issues, and state main issues education, health, and local governance. Local governance means like 73rd, 74 constitutional amendments, like Panchayat Raj systems, municipal systems and concurrent list, education, forest and trader, marriage system. These issues mentioned in the concurrent list. Written constitution. India is written constitution is our main strength of Indian democracy. Written constitution is the security of our people. Thank you.
Okay, we are for your presentation on the federalism and structure and challenges you have posed for this federalism, how the fragility of the federalism you have mentioned initially. So, in this, any questions from the audience? That's it.
Okay, thank you. This is final presentation. Now I would like to invite Satish Loharwadi, and who is going to present paper on Indian and constitutional reforms and impact.
Good evening, also. Good evening, my friends, my research scholars. Myself, Satish Loharwadi, Gulbarga University, Kalburgi, research scholar, guidance of Guru Sri Rambo, sir. My topic, Indian constitutional reforms and impact. ಭಾರತದ ಸಂವಿಧಾನದ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಪರಿಣಾಮಗಳು. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಯಾವ ನೀತಿಗಳ ಅನುಸಾರ ತನ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯ ಕೆಲಸವನ್ನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆಯೋ ಹಾಗೂ ಪ್ರಜೆಗಳು ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ನಿಯಮಗಳ ಅನುಸಾರ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಕರ್ತವ್ಯಗಳನ್ನು ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಭಾಯಿಸ್ತಾರೋ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಎಂದು ಕರೆಯುತ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಆರ್ಥಿಕವಾಗಿ, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತಂದಿರೋದು ಗೊತ್ತೇ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಹಕ್ಕು, ರೈಟ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ. ಏಕೆ ಇದನ್ನೇ ಯಾಕೆ ತಗೋಬೇಕು? ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ಇದೊಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್, ಇದು ಚರ್ಚೆ. ನೋಡ್ರಿ, ಭಾರತ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡದಾದ ದೇಶ, ಮತ್ತು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಹೊಂದಿರುವ ದೇಶ. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಕೂಡ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಶಾಸನಾತ್ಮಕವಾಗಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಹಕ್ಕನ್ನು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ 12 ಜೂನ್ 2005 ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಅಂಗೀಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. ಅದು ಯಾವಾಗ ಜಾರಿಯಾಯಿತು? 12 ಅಕ್ಟೋಬರ್ 2005 ಜಾರಿಯಾಯಿತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಜಾರಿಗೆ ತಂದರು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸು ಮತ್ತೊಬ್ಬ ಚೇರ್ಮನ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೀಗಿದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದರೆ ತಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಜೀವಕ್ಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ವಿತಿನ್ 30 days ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಒಳಗಾಗಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಟಾಪಿಕ್. ಇನ್ನು ಗುರಿಗಳು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಉತ್ತಮ ಆಡಳಿತ ನೀಡುವುದು ಜನರಿಗೆ, ಮತ್ತು ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ, ಮತ್ತೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾರದರ್ಶಕತೆ ಆಡಳಿತವನ್ನು ನೀಡೋದೇ ಇದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಧ್ಯೇಯ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಇದರ ಪರಿಣಾಮ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಸೇವೆಗಳನ್ನು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಿಕೊಡುವುದು, ಮತ್ತು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಟೈಮ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡೋದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಆಯೋಗದೊಂದು ಕೆಲಸ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಭ್ರಷ್ಟಾಚಾರವನ್ನು ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟು. ಆದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಧಾರಣೆಗಳು ತಂದರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿಯನ್ನು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಇದಕ್ಕಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಜನರ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿಕೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅರಿಸ್ಟಾಟಲ್ ಕೂಡ ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರಂಥದ 2ನೇ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ 6 ಸರ್ಕಾರಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ 6 ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಗೆ ತಕ್ಕಂತೆ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಸಂವಿಧಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಪರಿಣಾಮವಾಗಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಜನರ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಜ್ವಲಂತ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಜನರು ಎಚ್ಚೆತ್ತುಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಸರ್ಕಾರವೇ ಕೊಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ವಿರೋಧ ಪಕ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾರ್ಯಗಳು ಮಾಡಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಜನರ ಸಹಕಾರವಾಗಿ ಇರಬೇಕು, ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿಕೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇವತ್ತೇನಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಜನರು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜನರು ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಕೇವಲ ಒಂದು ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳು ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಒಂದು ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಆಡಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿಗಳನ್ನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಟೇ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬರಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಒಂದು ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೇಳಬೇಕನ್ನೋದು ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸಲಹೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.
Okay. So in this second session, and totally 7 research scholars has presented papers, and on behalf of ICSR and VSK University Bhandari, on behalf of the seminar organization committee, and I thankful to Professor Venkateshwarlu, Professor of Osman University, and all the presenters. Now it is time to honor, it is a token of respect, and it is time to honor Professor Venkateshwarlu and the President of previous session, Professor Krishna Kumar, please on the dais. As a token of respect, we are going to honor.
ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
Now I request Veera Prasad sir to honor Professor Umnar Ali sir on behalf of organizing secretary.